Good evening, everybody. It's 9 o'clock, and it's that time again for Hope and Action Network's Friend of a Wounded Heart program. We come to you every Wednesday evening at 9 p.m., and we have done so for quite a while. We warmly welcome you to our program this evening, but before we begin, I'll say a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this evening and for bringing us to this hour once again when we can sit and listen and discuss matters related to your people. We thank you, oh God, for the ideas that you have given us. We thank you for the people who join us week after week. We thank you for the connectivity. We thank you for those who view the program on YouTube and Facebook. And Father, may we continue to do your work guided by you. And may society indeed be impacted in a positive way. In Jesus' name, amen. So, good evening again. It is a pleasure to be here with you once again for Hope and Action Network's Friend of a Wounded Heart program. Wednesday evening, 9 o'clock. This is the place to be. And we have been coming to you for quite a while. This is session 129. We never stopped. We've always joined. And we have people who have been supporting us. Some might have faded along the way, but new ones are joining. And so we know that the program is being heard. And we have had some very positive results as a result of this program. I know that we had at least 2 weddings on this program. People who listened and were impacted by what we said, people who were encouraged. We are here to build a better society built on strong foundations through empowerment. So whatever we do on this program, we're aiming at empowering people. We are aiming at impacting society. So I thank you for joining us this evening, and I know others are going to join us shortly. Akisha, who is my co-host, is still unable to join us. We had a conversation today, and hopefully toward the end of this month, she will be able to join. And in fact, I am looking for a host and a co-host for the last Wednesday in this month. So I am inviting people to rush to host and co-host on the 28th, I think it is, the 28th of May. I will join. However, I am going to be some hours behind Trinidad and Tobago. There's going to be a significant time difference. And I will be on the ocean, so I may have some connectivity issues. However, I'm sure that these wonderful people here who join us would be more than willing to host and to assist us on that evening. With that said, I see one of our faithfuls, Bishop Hollis Charles, relocated but still joined. He's not in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And for our Tobago fans, he's in Tobago. So you can contact him. He's always willing and eager to meet the people on the platform. So we're going to share his contact information so that you can communicate with Bishop Charles. Thanks for joining us. I know you had a long day, flight, airport waiting, clearing, customs, and immigration, heading to Tobago, but you are here. Thank you so much, Bishop Charles. So our vision on Hope and Action Network is a better society built on strong foundations through the empowerment of everyone. And Akisha normally does a recap for us. She usually goes back and reminds us of the last 5 sessions. I will do that, and I'm going to continue to do it until she's able to come on. So last week we did As a Hen Protects Her Brood, and there we talked about our responsibilities to our children and the children who supervise. The week before that, I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you. And this showed how we show gratitude. My dear, you are wrong on the 16th of April. And here is where we'll say, if even someone is our friend or relative or child, we have to be honest enough to let that person know when they have done something wrong. A person is not right because the person is related to us. Before that, do I know myself? Who am I? And that was Mirror Mirror, where we were looking at ourselves and really understanding ourselves. And we are saying we don't have to live vicariously through anyone else. The week before that, we said no means no, and we were referring to consenting to engage in intimacy with anyone. We're saying if a person says no, it's no. And we also emphasized that children under the age of 18 cannot consent. So if even they say yes, it has to be taken as a no. Otherwise, somebody will be on their way to prison. So we deal with all kinds of topics, a wide variety of topics, all aimed at empowering us. This evening, our topic is they say. They say. And you know, sometimes when we have a hot piece of news, we heard something, we usually say, they say. They say. And we share the news. And very often the they does not have a face or a name. I'm sure we are accustomed to that. I hear they say, or I heard that they say. Who exactly is they? Who exactly is they? And coming to mind as I was working on this was that song, Oh Be Careful Little Ears What You Hear. And I extended it, oh be careful little lips, what you share. It's dangerous to believe and to share everything that we hear and everything that we read. Are we guilty of sharing what they say? We might have been sharing lies. Yes, not everything that we hear or read is the truth. We might have been sharing lies, and believing and sharing false information can affect us in several ways. It can affect us socially because when people find out that what we told them is not true, they will not trust us. It can affect us emotionally because there it is, we go and we share this thing and we tell this one and we tell the other one, only to find out that it was not true. It can also affect us spiritually because we are warned in the Bible about sharing information, sharing false information. We are warned about bearing false witness. And we may say, I heard that fact and I told somebody, but we have not sought to find out if it is true. And so when we share that, it's going to affect us spiritually as well. So we have to exercise keen discernment in how we listen and believe. They say that is not good enough. They say is not good enough. And I usually like you to join in and to tell us, has anybody ever shared something about you that is not true? This is a program where we open up and we talk. Has that happened to you? Has anybody ever shared anything that is not true? Bishop, I see you're unmuted. Is it that you want to contribute now?
Good night, Dr. Ward, and those who are online.
Yes,
I know
Bishop.
many persons in Vincent, where God lives, many persons are tuning in. Yes,
And now
it is a joy.
now you are in Tobago where God lives. He's everywhere. He's everywhere. Marjorie, Bishop
There's
is
no,
in Tobago.
there's no
Bishop, you
place
are in
like
Tobago.
yes, yes, I
Am
am.
I
I
going
came
to
in.
see you?
Sure, I won't miss you for anything this time.
Be careful
So
now.
we
Thou
share
shalt not lie.
so we share the information. Yes,
Yes.
so
It's a, ble-
Has anybody, Bishop, you were about to share some information? Has anybody ever said anything about you that is not true?
Yes, doctor. Yes, doctor. Ward, many times. Sometimes you're shocked because people looking out for you. People have my back, and sometimes the story that they will share with me, I'm just shocked and I'm cast away many times. So I thank the Lord for His goodness, His mercy, and I just pray for those persons. I usually confess that no weapon that is formed against me will ever prosper,
And any tongue that rises up in judgment
shall be condemned in the
shall
name of
be
Jesus.
condemned, shall be condemned. Yes, people hurt one another, badly by sharing false information. And somehow people love to hear the worst things about others. And very often it's not true. People share information that is not true. Does anybody want to share any specific example about someone or some incident or some experience related to what we're talking about?
I will share.
Yes, Irma.
And hi, good night, everybody. And this was really hurtful because it come from within. It was not strangers outside. It was my family. My mom died and she left the house for me, and my family got in some kind of problems, and I took them to live there with me, right? But what happened? My sister wanted to fight me for the house, right? But she didn't know that I had papers for the house. I didn't tell anybody that my mom left papers for me concerning the house. And I allow her and her children to come and stay there. And they really, really fight me a war, a serious war in the house there until I had to leave. The court had to let me leave there was to fix it up. But what she did, she told people that I used to, where I was staying, she told people that I used to come down home and I used to leave the house. Well, she used the word stink. She said I used to leave the house stink and go back up where I was staying. And I find that was really hurtful to me because they was living in the house and the house was going down. And I had to go down, I had to go and clean the house, take down
Mm.
cobweb and and try and paint over the place. And then she was saying that I used to come down and leave the place real, real nasty. And the thing about it hit you so hard when it comes from your own family. Somebody outside might say something about you, and you quarrel that time, and you leave them and you go on in your house. But when it's within, it does hurt really, really bad, really, really bad. And then my niece live in Grenada, and she and her husband had a little issue, right? And the husband called me at night to talk to my niece about what was going on. So the two of them was on the phone with me, but my sister didn't know that my niece's husband was on the phone also. So she was listening to the conversation, and she was hearing that I was talking back and to the person, and asking why they did that and whatever. And she took it upon herself to go and tell my niece that I was bad talking she. Son, I was bad talking her, but she didn't know that it was my niece and she husband was talking. So that is the experience I went through, but I thank God that it's over and done with, and I thank God that God allowed me to hold my peace, though quarrel, though certainly, because
Great.
God said He will fight for me.
Great. Irma, as you spoke, my mind went here, there, and everywhere because I was remembering some of my experiences. Listen, you talked about hurt. Listen, it tears your inside. And I've cried very often, cried and cried and cried because of things that people have said that were not true. And the thing about it is that when other people hear it, they believe and they share it. And this evening we're saying, oh, be careful, little ears, what you hear. Of course, you can't stop your ears from hearing, but here we're talking about be careful. We're saying be careful what you pay attention to. Be careful about what you pay attention to, about what you digest and process and share with other people, because we don't know for sure that the information is correct. But we like to go around saying, they say, yes, you're in here, XYZ, yes, they say, they. And very often we don't know where the story came from. And then we don't know where it's going. But we are hurting people. We are
Yes,
hurting.
very deep. Yes,
Yes. And some people deliberately fabricate things, eh? Some people hear things or some misunderstand things, but there are people who deliberately fabricate lies. So you are
that
going
is
to a
so
place
true.
that you have to
Yeah.
clean and you are accused.
Mm-hmm. That's
DT.
so true. Yeah.
Listen, it hurts. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts. Does anybody else want to share an example? Thank you, Irma, for opening up and sharing. Does anybody else want to share an
You're
example?
welcome.
Yes, of something that they heard about themselves and they wonder, well, who is this human being they're talking about? You don't know that person, and that person is supposed to be you. Anybody else want to share? You can. And while you're
Well,
thinking, yes, KPW. We don't know who you are. Please tell us who you are if you
I'll,
want to.
I'll prefer it says at KPW. Is that okay?
Okay, all right.
All right. So good. So good night to you, Miss Bob. Is it
Yeah.
Miss Bob or Dr. Bob?
Doctor or Miss or anything will do.
Okay. There's a reason why I asked if it's Miss Bob or Dr. Bob. All right.
Mhm.
So the topic is tonight is hearsay, daisy. Right.
Mhm.
First time I'm on your show.
Welcome, welcome. We always, and if there's anybody else who is new, I'm seeing T314 Charles. If you are new, a special, special welcome to you. Thank you for joining us, KPW.
Okay, that's no problem. Good. So we are starting with this. The reason why I said if it's DR in front or Miss, it's
Mhm.
because I observed that there is a lot of doctors and pathologists in Tobago, meaning the people of Tobago knows what you are sick with, what happened to you before the real doctors. Do you agree with me?
Well, I'm not a medical doctor. I am a doctor of
Ah,
philosophy,
that's
doctor of
right.
philosophy in education.
That's right. I know what I'm coming with, right?
Mhm.
But what I'm saying, the people of Tobago, I cannot say Trinidad. I'm saying Tobago. The people of Tobago tends to know your business, your medical business, more than you, the person. Do you agree with me with that?
Well, I know that there are people in Tobago who look at people and judge their situation
All right.
and diagnose. I
All
know. Yeah,
right. So,
I know.
like, for example, me, they have diagnosed me with HIV and AIDS. It's a
Mm.
pity. They knew what happened to me, and some of them have it and have other diseases, and they don't know what happened to them. But with me, they knew what happened to me and my daughter. Tobago people like to spread rumors. That is why I said there are a lot of doctors and pathologists. If somebody die, they know what they die from before the immediate family knows what they die of. You understand what I'm saying?
Fully understand you.
So they see somebody's getting small. You know what they have? They have the big A. They see somebody saying, you know what they have? They have cancer. How many doctors Tobago have? How many pathologists Tobago have? People always know people's business and they don't know theirs at all. And they love to spread, you know, it's until, and I like this, this topic is really nice tonight. I thought you were talking about the children stuff tonight, like someone had told me. But unless a person takes someone to court for libel, I believe that hearsay and them say will stop. Do you agree?
It is dangerous, yes. And
because slandering, and you know, Tobago is very small,
right?
And slandering somebody's name with that, you know how, I mean, I get a little older now, you know. I don't like to use the word I don't care, because my mother used to say don't use that word, but words are win to me right now, because people slandering my name and my daughter's name, diagnosing us with what, man, Miss Bob, it is ridiculous.
It is. I know what you're talking about, my dear.
Right?
Don't think I don't understand you.
And you know, the same people who skin and grin with you on a daily basis, them is the one who spread these rumors about you. But you know what? You have to be strong.
That's right.
And you have to say, you know what? I don't care. But I mean, they mustn't say that, but sometimes that would have to come out of your mouth.
I understand what you're saying. Long ago, it would have affected you differently.
Yes.
But I have gotten to the point now where, say it if you want to.
That's right.
It doesn't bother me anymore. And if
That's
it's something
right.
if it's something that is true, I am the one who will come on this program and say it as it is.
It's ridiculous.
I'm not afraid of people knowing the truth, but I think people have to be careful about.
And I realize people like a lot of gossip. And always remember this: the bad gossip always run faster than the good gossip.
Because people love juicy stories. They love they like the negatives.
Yes.
You go to school, you pass your exams, you get your PhD. That is not news.
No.
That is not news. That's something that they cover. But let them hear that you're suffering from a terminal illness, or let them hear that your partner is unfaithful. Let them hear that you lost a baby. Let them hear something negative. And yet,
losing a baby. I mean, that is not bad. But I mean, as I said, I am older now. I'm speaking about my daughter, right? She's in her 20s. And I mean, she will be different from me. But people spreading that rumor about her, I mean, that could affect her, man.
Of course. But I want to suggest to you that you keep your daughter very close to you. And if at all you think that she needs professional help, get a counselor to talk with her. Because you see, she's younger than you are. And you have gained the strength to deal with this. But she might not have that strength. And you don't want her walking with her head hanging low. Just because she thinks that somebody thinks. We're not saying somebody knows, Somebody thinks.
That's right.
That she's HIV positive. I mean, we as a society, we've gone very, very low.
And what I'm saying too, even though someone is HIV positive or they have the AIDS, right? Is that something to bring down someone? I find in our society, Tobago, we need to be more enlightened or have more knowledge about this thing. Because I believe that having cancer is worse off than having HIV.
Because people live long, healthy lives.
Thank you.
Because there is the medication to support.
And even diabetes is worse than HIV. You know, so I don't understand that. So that's my thought for now.
Tell your daughter, thank you so much for sharing.
No
I
problem.
understand, I can hear it. I can hear it in your voice. I can hear it. I can understand. Give your daughter a hug and tell her that all of us on the platform love her. Love her and tell her to
I
be
can hear you.
strong. Tell her
Yes.
to be strong. But listen, ladies, did you listen to KPW? You can feel what she's saying. And you know what I mean by you can feel what she's saying. But this is an example of people sharing information about somebody else and sharing something that is not true. And we see it happening, eh? We see people sharing false information in the news. So sometimes the news shares information that is untrue. I remember when my last brother was murdered, the Guardian newspaper called me and I did not give them any information. I was very upset. I didn't give them any information. And I was surprised to see what was printed in the Guardian after that. So even the very news sometimes has it wrong. But don't talk about people. Well, people just share information. Share it, share it, share it, share it. Social media, there's some people who believe that social media is the Bible. So anything that you see on social media, they believe it. And there's so many lies there. There's so many things that are wrong about it. And I can't help but remember the pandemic, COVID-19. Oh, there was so much information on social media about the origin of COVID-19, about the cure, about all kinds of things, even about the vaccine, where people were saying that people who took the vaccine would have been dead in 2 years. I took it in 2021. So that's 4 years now. So I'm on overtime. There's so many people who were sharing all kinds of information, things that they were not sure about. And very often they got information from unreliable sources like Facebook and people who felt that they knew what was happening. Teresa is saying, don't think it's Tobago alone, eh? KPW Trinidad too. So there are people who were sharing their biased medical views on Facebook. There are preachers who were sharing false information as well. And there are preachers who continue to share false information. And of course, there are scammers all over the place. Well, that's their profession, to share lies. But as human beings who God gave brains, we have to be extremely cautious about what we believe and what we share. We can't go about believing everything that we hear. We can't. And what it is about this sharing information. So if even you know that there's somebody down the road who but let's say you have the information, you know it's true that that person has cancer. What is it that will make you go about sharing the information rather than getting down on your knees and praying for the person or talking to them and suggesting a good doctor that they could go to? Why are we so busy to share information that is negative? Listen, I don't think that sharing negative things about people will make us happy, cannot make us happy. In fact, if we are happy and truly, truly happy, we will want other people to be happy as well. So we would not try to tear down, bring down anybody. We have to remember that we are all human beings and we are Christians on this platform. We equal at the foot of the cross. We come from different places. Yes, we have different faces. We have different circumstances. But we are serving a God who does not look down on people. And when we ill speak another person or make somebody believe something negative about that person, it doesn't add anything to us. In fact, it makes us bitter people. Bitter, bitter, bitter. Because it's only an evil heart would be willing to compose something negative or believe something negative or spread something negative about someone else. So we really need to ask God to change our hearts, fix us up so that we are not so busy to share mischief, to make mischief, to ill-speak people, and to try to make people think negatively. I'm sure somebody wants to come in. I just heard a sound.
Yes, good evening to my sisters and brother Charles online.
Yes, Anne.
I share the passion of that lady who spoke a while ago, because I too had my name smeared in a public place, in a male's toilet, that I was HIV positive. When I heard of it, I was angry. But then you know what? I said, but Anne, you do have AIDS, so what's the problem? And then some year after, some male went to the toilet and saw it and called somebody who was close to me to see what they saw. When the person called me, your name so and so and so. I said, that's still there? So the person said, you knew? I said, yes, that must be almost 3 years now. But as KW said, she was young and now she has more foresight. She's an adult and she can handle it differently. And I just put it behind me. But sometimes when men try to make advances and you shut them down, they try to do things to hurt you. And I knew that was just what happened.
But what kind of mind goes into a toilet to put that information? Listen, we really need a renewing of our minds, We need God to fix us up and tear out the dirty part and just put in a good mind, the mind of Jesus, the friend of a wounded heart. This program is called Friend of a Wounded Heart.
For a purpose.
For a purpose. For a purpose. We don't all belong to the same religious denomination, but we know Jesus and believe in him.
I thought you know. Well, I did, then I came back for breakfast.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the least that I
Is somebody making a contribution? I don't think so. Yes, Anne-Marie?
Yes, Dr. Ward.
Yes. So
I shared the lady's passion and I too had my experience, but I got over it, I moved on.
Yes, and I thank God for the strength that you have. And KPW, I thank God for the strength that you have too, because you're not in a corner moping because people are sharing these negative things about you. But I am concerned about your daughter because she's younger and it can affect her. So if she needs the help, let her get help before it is too late. Get somebody to counsel her and take her out of that. But remember that people will continue to share it because people are wicked. The heart of man is deceitful and desperately wicked above all else. Who can know it? Bishop, tell me if I quoted it right. I think I got it right. A man's heart is wicked, and somehow people take pleasure in seeing other people suffer. And if we have to build a better society, we have to change that. Look at social media and the things that you see there. It is terrible. It is terrible, the things that you see on social media. Well, there is a lady called Meghan Markle. She receives such a bashing on social media. People are saying that she never had a baby. The lady has 2 children. They're saying that she used to use prosthetic tummies and she never brought forth a child. Whenever she speaks about her children, they say she's using other people's children. And she has not been showing her children's faces. I know that we saw the girl when she was much younger and the boy when he also was much younger when the boy visited Desmond Tutu, I think it was. Now what they don't show, since they're growing up, they don't show their faces, and people are saying it's because she's borrowing people's children. And people hear these things and they repeat it. That's to tell you how ridiculous we are as human beings. Now tell me, some people say she rents children. Now, which human being will go through that to rent a child to say that they own a child? Come on. When we copy, when we repeat these things, it doesn't make the other people, the people we're talking about, it doesn't make them look bad. It makes us look stupid. Yes, Marjorie.
You see, when we spend this kind of time on social media, we literally become voyeurs in other people's lives. And there's some jealousy attached to that. If you spend so much time looking at others, and sometimes, as the lady said, was people close to her. Just recently, there's a young woman got lost in El Salvador, someplace. She went with friends. She didn't go alone. She went with school friends, and they haven't found her yet. So sometimes you just can't trust anyone. You just have to live your life with integrity. Avoid social media. Social media is what have this whole world in such a turmoil, because we believe things that aren't true because we are too lazy to do the research and check things out ourselves. And when you spend so much time looking at other people's lives, you believe that these lives cannot be as perfect as you see it to be or know it to be. So you are looking constantly for something that will change that in your mind. So if you see anything or you hear anything that's negative, of course you want to spread it, because there was a jealousy built into your living vicariously through other people's lives. And I think we have a choice. We have a choice to spend our time reading a good book or doing something else, reading your Bible, knowing your God, other than spending that kind of time on social media. Because social media and the lies got Donald Trump in office. And I'm sure it got a lot of other government in office. And we are paying the price for it. So that's my contribution. And to the lady about the AIDS in Tobago, I'm sorry for your hurt, but your job is just live life. You are alive, thank God for it every day. And as my mother said, what didn't pass you,
what didn't meet you,
escape you.
what didn't meet you and pass you.
Yeah, So live your life and pray and wish everyone well, because God has a way of straightening it out.
That's
the
right.
evil we do live after us. It doesn't escape us. But the sad thing, sometimes it affects our children for what we have done. So just stay frosty, stay healthy, and stay happy.
Yes, thank you, Marjorie. Thanks for your advice. If anybody else wishes to share a story, you may, but I want to go on now to the reasons why we have to be cautious about believing everything we see and hear. When we hear things, it could be true. Those things can be true. However, we have to be mindful of the fact that it could be misinformation or disinformation. And you might ask me, well, what's the difference between misinformation and disinformation? Information can be intentionally distorted, or fabricated. Misinformation is false information that is spread without harmful intent. So information could be spread or shared without any harmful intent. It's not true, but it is being shared by people who believe it's true, and they share it without any intention of hurting anyone. But disinformation is spread deliberately to deceive, much like what we hear on some of the political platforms. Disinformation is spread deliberately to deceive, but both of them are dangerous because they could lead to misunderstanding and they could lead to false belief. So we must be cautious about believing everything that we hear and see. False information can also be believed because of what we call confirmation bias. People tend to love information that is in keeping with what they already believed, and they ignore information that is different from what they believed. So if they believe that KPW and her daughter are HIV positive, and they see a little rash on KPW's skin, that's confirmation bias. And because they saw that, they say, aha, yes, she really has that, when she might have eaten something or used a cream that did not agree with her. So we should not believe everything that we see or hear, because confirmation bias could be at work. We heard it and now we see that and we say, yes, that is so. And it leads to a really skewed, distorted perception of reality.
Miss
Go
Ward,
ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Miss Ward.
Yes.
Now, I have been hearing you saying, along with the lady before, talking about social media and whatever, right?
Mhm.
A quick question. About what year do you think that people of, especially, remember, I deem it more Tobago. Tobagoans start to use a lot of social media. What year? Around what time? Forget about the newspaper. Beside the newspaper, I should say forget about the newspaper. Right? Around what time period you think that this social media becomes so rampant or high in demand?
Listen, for the
I try to make a guess.
5 years.
Somewhere heading towards the
Beautiful,
pandemic.
beautiful, ma'am. Beautiful,
Yes.
beautiful, ma'am. Right.
But I'm a Tobagonian, and I'll tell you, we had social media long before social media.
Right, right, right.
We had opinions long before social media.
That's right.
Because it began in the home. We talk about it at home.
And it's
we go to school, we talk about it, and that's how it happened.
And
that was more injurious than social media then. And it still is.
And it become more more popular now within 5 to 6 year period now, right?
It appears so.
Especially since this WhatsApp become free, right? And especially this. No, I'm being honest. So
no, it's free, but they don't call.
No, look at it, right? When you had to pay for the telephone, be mobile or digital, you had to pay 20. It's how much? Like $1 a minute or something. You understand? Gossip wasn't that sweet unless you see someone face to face. But the gossip gets more sweeter because the WhatsApp is free, because majority of people of Tobago has
WhatsApp.
Right, good. Now, I don't want to stray from the topic, Now, it is so sad to see that this hearsay, them say, it only hits home, especially when it's your turn.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Now, some of us, like myself, I mean, words kind of hurt,
Yes.
but how to you? I don't like to use
Perception,
don't
perception,
care.
perception.
When you say you don't care, we understand what you mean.
Right, because I don't like to use that
in a negative
word.
way anymore.
Yeah, I really don't like.
That's how you protect yourself.
Yes,
That's how you
that word
protect your
don't care.
integrity.
Eventually, as we get older, we want someone to care about you, you know?
Yeah.
But here say that is what we like. If we don't, if we don't gossip on a daily basis, like we don't feel good, how often you will hold a conversation and it's more positive thing than gossip?
I do.
It always, oh, you don't know what happened, or you don't know. So let us try to make Tobago better.
Let me tell you a story. When I was a young nurse in Tobago, there was a young lady in the hospital sick.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a family member, my uncle's wife, per se, wanted to know about what was happening in the hospital with the young lady.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't give her any information, but I went home and I was telling my parents how frustrating it is that somebody would ask that question.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember before HIPAA, my mom and my father sat me down and said, whatever happened in that hospital stays in that hospital. We don't want to hear it. And if we don't want to know about it, nobody out there should want to know about it from you. So you have nothing to say.
Awesome.
And as a young lady, I have watched all sorts of things in the hospital, but nobody in my village could ever have said, she said, because before HIPAA was a thing, my parents shut that down. You don't gossip, you don't talk about other people, you find something else to do.
But you know, most of the things is the same workers at the hospital, the nurses.
I know.
They are the ones who talk.
I know.
And that is what I'm saying. Unless someone put one of them in court, I believe it's gonna stop a little.
I worked away for a while. And there was something, HIPAA was very, very, very serious. You lose your job if you violate someone's privacy. So like you will have celebrity comes to the hospital. If you are not assigned to that patient as a doctor or a nurse or anybody who would go into that computer, if you go into that computer on that patient's chart for any reason when you are not assigned to that patient, nobody asks you why and how. You lose your job.
You lose your job.
Yeah. And that is what they need to do home.
But this don't happen in Tobago.
No, that's what
I hear people say they don't even go to the health center because before they meet home, somebody knows what
that's right.
Yeah.
And we have to be serious about how we treat one another, how we respect one another, and that's what's missing in Tobago.
Yes.
Yeah. Somebody instead of we try to help someone,
we tear down.
We tear down that person. Yeah.
It's easy. It's easier.
Yeah.
You know, I admire my child, my last born. He does not share anybody's information with me. My sister-in-law
not supposed to.
My sister-in-law called recently and said, you know, I am much better now. And I said, what was wrong with you? I didn't know you were sick. She said, I had dengue and my doctor attended to me. I said, my son? Yes. And my son knows how close we are.
Not his story to tell.
Word. And I felt proud of him.
Yes.
I felt proud of him.
Yes.
He took an oath. He took an oath. And the doctors and nurses in Tobago, in Mount Hope, in St. Anne's, in wherever, Cyril Ross, wherever they are, they have taken oaths and they're supposed to honor those.
But they don't.
Somebody they need to make an example of someone.
And that is what I said in the beginning.
Yes.
Unless someone make an example of someone in Tobago, and you know, honestly, and why I'm speaking like this, because
I know you're
too.
Yes.
And you know, they will say, what KPW playing? Not that I'm playing anything, you know, I want to set an example for libel.
I'm glad you are on this program this evening. I'm glad you are on.
Yes.
I'm glad. Because you brought to the fore a real example of someone who is experiencing this kind of thing.
Of course. And as I said, instead of we try to uplift someone and say, hey, you know, that's wrong, you know, they only
yes.
At least speak to the person.
Oh my God.
Are you all right? Are you okay?
Yeah. They love gossip.
Yeah, they love gossip.
Come on.
I see a note in the chat. Shante, Anne-Marie, Esther, Beverly, first-time visitors. Welcome, all first-time visitors. Yes, this is a program that's on every Wednesday evening. And I know that my cousin has been inviting people. I'm glad that you accepted the invitation and that you logged on. This is a place where we talk, where we discuss real issues, and we urge people to become better. We want to build a better society. Don't go about sharing misinformation and disinformation and hurting people. And we were talking about the reasons why we should not believe these things. We said there could be misinformation. There could be disinformation shared for malicious reasons. It could be confirmation bias where somebody draw a conclusion because of something they might have heard before when it's not true. And some people do these, some people spread information. Another reason why we should push it aside is because it's manipulation and propaganda. It's just not true. Media and individuals can manipulate information for political reasons, social reasons, financial gain. And they appeal to people's emotions. They don't focus on what is factual, you know. They say things that they know people will be drawn to. And they know that when they say these things, people are not going to critically evaluate what is said. So we have to be careful. We have to be careful. Some people also are objects of what we call cognitive dissonance. We might be using some big words, but it means that they know one thing and believe one thing, and then something conflicting comes to their hearing. And when we hear something conflicting, it creates some kind of discomfort in us. And so we reject the valid information and we hold on to the one that we had before. So it could be dissonance, a kind of fight and talk taking place there. And what do? We just push aside the new, real, correct information and hold on to the opposing view that we had. Then some people are not even able to perceive things properly. They hear something, and because of their personal experiences or biases again, or their emotional state, they interpret it in the wrong way and they distort it and then they share it. Then again, we have what is called deep fakes and technology. We know that technology is way, way, way advanced now. And as a result of that, people can create things that are not real. They can create false images. I could be sitting behind my desk here and somebody could take a picture and they put me standing up in front of the Eiffel Tower. Deep fakes, false images, false videos. And sometimes it's difficult to discern truth from what is fabricated. So you have fake video, fake image, fake voice recordings where they replace one person's likeness with that of another. And it's meant to deceive at times, and it's meant to entertain at times, and we have to be cautious about this. Some things come to us from unreliable sources, and some people just seek to cloud our judgment, to appeal to our emotions. And all of it is false. Therefore, we have to be extremely cautious about what we believe. We have to sound it, test it. And here are some strategies. We have to check the source. Check the source of the information. We have to verify that it is coming from a credible source. So you hear something or you see something, and you know, you'll have a lot of cures and all kind of medical advice and all kinds of things on social media again. Is it coming from a reputable organization? Is this information coming from an academic institution? Is it coming from expert opinion? Check to see who wrote it. Check to see if the person is qualified to write the things that we are seeing or saying. So we're not only talking about speaking other people here, we're talking about information in general, because I might be suffering from some kind of illness. Of course, I have my nerve compression, and people have come to me with 1,050,000 remedies, and I can't use all of them. Therefore, I find myself checking information very often to see where it's coming from. And when we find information, we have to see if it is coming from a variety of sources or if it just came from one person. Sometimes it's just coming from one person or one thread. One person tells this one person their cousin, and this person tells their sister, and this person tells their nephew, and it's coming from one source. And if it's coming from one family, that family could have a bias against the person. And so it could well be that the information is not true. And so we have to be cautious about sharing, be cautious about believing, and cautious about sharing. Then we have to learn to examine evidence. We have to be cautious about examining evidence. And sometimes when, I hear things, I say, well, is it true? How did you know? Where did you get that information from? And I know that some people can't tolerate the fact that I question things a lot. But I am not going to believe something because you said it. Only God. Only what God wrote in the Bible am I going to believe firsthand, right away. But if you come to me with information, you have to tell me where you get it, how you got it, who else was there, and you have to support it. Otherwise, I'm not going to believe it or share it. I'm not going to do that. And this is something that we have to practice. Because some people have a bias. Some people have biases. But we have to look at things, analyze it, consider the context, because some people might have heard one sentence and they form their own opinion about the one sentence that they heard. So they might be passing and they may hear me say, but I have this thing for years, but people don't know. And they might, KPW, what they might take from that girl? If I say I have this thing for years and people don't know, they might sum it up, they might add to it, they might color it up and fix it up in such a way that people will believe them. And they may not even know I'm talking about a swollen knee that I've had since 2020. But because I might be wearing long clothes, nobody could see it and so on. So we have to be cautious and we have to question the information, question it. Yes, go ahead.
Dr. Ward, you could be talking about your old-time singer machine. I have this thing for so long. I have this thing with me for so long. You cherishing your old singer machine, and they're gone with something else.
Yes, believing that it is something
It's the
else.
worst. Yes.
So we have to
Mhm.
question. We have to ask for evidence. We have to look. We have to search. We have to consider the context. We have to
Correct.
engage in discussions and see, tear it apart. Don't run with it. It could be wrong and it could land us in the high court. And I'm also, as we be talking about what people might be saying about other people, but we're also talking about information in general, because there's some of us who go about believing all kinds of things that are not true. Shortly after President Trump was inaugurated, somebody said President Trump, and I think I told you that President Trump banned skinny jeans. I think I told you that, and we had a good laugh about it.
Yes, yes, we
We
did.
did. But you see, people were saying,
He probably will ban that soon.
Padre, be good, be good. So because so much was happening, people wanted to add and add and add. And people just love to whisper, love to say things, love a negative, when we should be thinking more positive kinds of things. Let us be cautious. We have to stay updated ourselves and read a lot. When we hear something, check it out. Check it out. Read around it. Get information from several sources. Not because they say can lead us into the high court or into the grave, because when they say to boil this and boil that and add this for medication, we could be doing the wrong thing. And of course, we should trust our instincts as well. If we feel
Just
something is
recently, about 2 days ago, someone from my church said to me, well, I just take the turmeric, I use the turmeric like every day. And I said,
if that person has to have surgery, what will happen?
I said, who tell you that turmeric is that good for you to have every day? She said, well, it's on YouTube. I said, but you can't listen to everything on YouTube. You can't believe everything on YouTube.
How are you going to get that blood to clot if the person has to have surgery?
But it damages your liver. It does so many things to you that, it shouldn't be used. But because it's on YouTube, or because somebody says something, people are growing turmeric. And she said, well, I get it from my own garden. I didn't buy it. It's good because I grew it myself, But there's so much misinformation out there.
Yes.
But how do one who isn't as sophisticated decide what is true or what is error? I don't know what to say about that, but there's so much misinformation out there.
There is.
And I think people are looking at other people's lives, being envious of other people's lives, because when people post something, it's not true most of the time. I have friends, and when I see what they post sometimes, that's crazy. But other people would believe who don't know them. And this is this is what confusing so many of us. We are not sophisticated enough to know it's not right, it's not true. So we believe it because it looks good. We are looking at somebody's lives and wishing our lives could be like that. And that's the whole problem.
Yes, indeed. And Nancy saying St. Lucians are the same. So it's not just Tobago, not just Trinidad. It's a problem. It's a problem.
It's a human problem. Human. We wish evil fathers instead of good.
Sister Carolyn from Texas, USA, and Kathleen. Welcome to the program. Welcome. We're here every Wednesday night, So you can share the link, share the login information, and join us. whenever you can. This is I don't want to say real talk because that means something in Trinidad and Tobago right now, but we deal with real issues. Anything that could impact society. And yes, too many falsehoods are being shared. People are saying, they say, I hear, you ain't hear, they say. When very often the information is not true. So apart from talking about sharing information about other people, we are also talking about our practice of believing anything that we see or hear, anything that we read. And the forwards that people send from day to day with all kinds of cures, where are they coming from? Where is this information coming from? All kinds of videos that say people did this and people are doing this and people are doing the other. Where is that information coming from? We have to...
AI could create anything now.
Anything. Anything. Deep fakes. Deep fakes.
I use the term. I use the term sometimes that some people have diarrhea of the mouth.
Oh,
right?
No, that's a terrible one. So we have to be cautious. We have to be cautious. We have to be cautious and use the strategies I just mentioned. Check the sources. Where is it coming from? Cross-reference the information, look at different sources. Where is all of this coming from? Okay, we heard that this happened. We look at the news. Check and see what ABC is saying, what CNN is saying, what BBC is saying. Check it out. Check it out. We have to realize that some people use what we call identity bias. Identity bias, we have to be careful about that. This potential of people to be biased towards a certain kind of information. Consider whether they have a certain agenda or whether they have a certain perspective that they're trying to use to influence other people. Consider the context. Question their purpose. Be skeptical about any outrageous claims that you hear. Somebody might be trying to fool us. And so we have to be extremely cautious. And in terms of things that people see on social media and tend to rush to believe, there are several websites for checking those facts. Several websites for fact checking. One of the websites I use is snoops.com. I'm sure that many of you would have heard of snoops.com. Snoops, S-N-O-P-E-S. So whenever I see or hear anything, and I heard something in church recently, and right there, forgive me, right there I got on my phone, I checked snoops.com, and I realized that it was misinformation. So I just put a number of sites there, and there are many others. You could just type in websites for fact checking, and you will see. So you just type in what you heard or somebody said to you, or what is on the news, fact check, and you will realize that many of the things that we have been hearing and believe to be true are in fact false. Fact check. Check the facts. Check the facts. You have PolitiFact, factcheck.org. Washington Post has one as well. Snoops is the one I like to use. You have SideCheck, FactCheck, Media Bias, and many others. When the reality is that whenever we share information that is not true, information that is not factual, we are sharing lies. And to put it in another way, if it's something that is said about somebody and we share it, we are bearing false witness. We're telling lies. We're spreading lies. And we have to be wise. People have agendas, and there's some people who are ready and willing and happy to recruit others to engage in their negative practices. As individuals, we have to be cautious. Let us not spread misinformation, disinformation, lies.
It destroys lives.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. You heard the passion with which this mother spoke this evening. I am so happy that she is on this platform and that she was able to share in the way that she did. But did you listen deeper? Did you listen deeper? I listened to her words, but I went much deeper than that and listened to her emotions.
Yes.
That is pain. That is pain. But my sister, you continue to stand up and be strong. Stand up and be strong. God is good. God is good. Before I do the wrapping up, is there anybody else who wishes to share on what we discussed this evening? An experience or just an opinion based on what we have been discussing?
Good evening.
Right. So we take Lisa, and then I see Bishop unmuted again. So we take Lisa first and then Bishop.
Yes, good evening, everyone. You know, everyone have a different personality and we interpret things differently. But apart from that, if we call ourselves Christians, you know, which I personally think is an overrated word, I call myself a believer, you know, in Christ. We are not loyal to people because if someone says something, we should be loyal, not to go and talk about it. But as I said, we have different personalities and upbringings, and you know, some of us naturally run our mouth on everything. So if we practice being loyal and zip up our lips, right? If somebody share a joke with you, it's something different. But if somebody shares something with you or you could hear something, you don't say anything. I work in an institution where a manager came to me and said, Lisa, I tell you so years ago and I've never heard it back. I'm not praising myself. I'm just showing an example. We need to stop it. We need to stop it. That is just my 2 cents.
That is plenty sense. You know, people who usually talk on the program always think that what they say is 2 cents. What you're saying is much more valuable. Each contribution is valuable. They add to what we're trying to do. We're trying to build a better society. We're trying to, brick by brick, build a society that is a better one. This evening, we talked about they say, hearsay, spreading information that is untrue. And we heard of instances. All right, I'll take you, Marge, and then I'll go to her.
Sorry, she said that Christian, she doesn't believe in the name. The word Christian means Christ-like.
Christ-like.
Is you know, you're a believer or you're Christ-like, whatever. But we should have integrity. We are called to represent this Christ that we are like, called Christians. So that's why we are called Christians. We have to have empathy for others. We have to wish them the same goodness and love that we want for ourselves. And if we fall short of that, I guess we can't call ourselves Christians. That's my thought when I heard her saying that. Because Christian is not, it's a verb, it's an active word. You can't be un-Christ-like and say you are Christ-like or you are Christian. It doesn't work. So we have to have integrity, we have to have kindness, and we have to show love to each other. Okay. And giving false information or repeating false information about anyone is not Christ-like.
Indeed. And why do we have to share information that people give to us anyway? If even it's true. If we hear something, why do we have to go sharing? We talk too much. You have to be careful. Thank you, Marge. Bishop, can I take Nick before I take you?
No problem, no problem.
Thank you. You know, you're old people, so we entertain the new ones first.
I'm
Yes.
flexible.
Yes, all
Good
right.
night.
Go ahead.
This is the first time I'm on the program, and it is so, and it is so well put together and need to be said, because I used to think that I maybe was being a bit sensitive, because I have experienced this. One example is that someone sent me a video where two ladies were fighting and they had a baby, and one of the ladies that was holding her child was so angry or whatever, dropped the baby and continued fighting. Now that traumatized me. And I told the person, you know, what is the purpose of sharing this? How is it benefiting me? How is it benefiting to anybody? You know, and they kind of took offense, but I mean, it's everything like you just said. Do we need to share? Why are we sharing it? And like I just said, some people have their fingers too quick to go on the share button without verifying, without even fact checking to see how it is, or even considering, okay, if I send this to the person, how would it affect them? You know, you send them pictures of someone getting mauled by a pit bull. I mean, what is the purpose of sharing that? You know, and gruesome, and you know, sometimes things are not like the other day. I just saw too where they were saying the Pope, before he died, had a bad dream, and they put up a quote unquote fake news room. When I fact check it, it had no such room. You know, it was what they call it. I forget the name they call it, but they have like a reporter, but it is not true. It is fake. And they were sharing it, and like you say, the purpose, and the person who shared it have an agenda because they have something against Christianity. So again, I am so glad, and this needs to be addressed more, and people need to be more mindful of sharing videos. Let us share more, you know, the love of Christ. So many other positive things we can share, and not everything on the internet is true. But unfortunately, some people feel once it's on the internet, it's got to be true.
It is true, yes. I saw it on the internet. Yes, I saw it on the internet. Well, the internet, much of it is for likes and all of that. Some is satire, not real. Some is for entertainment. People compose things and put there. We have to be careful. Nick, I thank you. You're joining, and we have people who are joining for the first time, contributing so positively to what we're doing here this evening. Nick, we're on every Wednesday evening, 9 o'clock. Same login information, same information. So feel free to join us. Every week we discuss something of importance.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Yeah. Lisa, what's up to charge for $10 for every video? I see you. I see you. Hollis, Bishop, go ahead.
When my wife died, it was amazing that they know who caused her death. They was blaming me. I caused her death, and that was something else, you know. I was shocked because she had been to the hospital many times in Georgetown, Kingstown, many times. And the doctor gave us the information what she died from. So these things could be very painful, but I've gotten over it, because the same thing in St. Vincent, especially among women. Right?
I apologize.
So it was painful, to be honest with you. That's why I say some folks are diarrhea of the mouth. So we have to really, like David said, create in me a clean heart, oh God, and renew within me the right spirit. So lots of people have the wrong spirit, and they need to get in contact with Jesus Christ so he can change their lives.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. I'm sorry you had to go through that.
Since I came in, I went to the B-Mobile, and they gave me a Trinidad number. I don't know if I should give you personally, and you can share it, or I should give it now. I want to find out what I should do.
You can. Okay, if you give me now, the world would get your number. Do you want that? Because this goes anywhere and everywhere. Or you can send it to me and I'll share it to the people from the group who are in Tobago.
Yeah, because you have the Sinvin's number already.
I do,
So you
yes.
can, after you close up, I'll give you the number.
Sure, all right.
I want to meet
All right.
somebody
And
special.
Bishop, how long are you going to be in Tobago?
I leave Tobago Tuesday evening.
All right. So I hope I get the number so I can see you if you have the time. I could meet you wherever.
As long as you,
That sounds
as long,
scandalous.
That's all right. That's
I'll
all
have,
right.
I'll have all the time. I make special time especially for you.
Oh boy.
Okay.
So I'll give him my number to sister.
I will do that. I'll
And
do
give
that.
me his.
Yes, and we really appreciate his, his diligence. I mean, he traveled this evening, but still, he has logged on to the program and has shared. Listen,
And happy Mother's Day to all the women.
Oh, yes.
And all the men. Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you for reminding me. Happy Mother's Day, woman. Happy Mother's Day to you. As we wrap up. Yes, KBW, go ahead.
I share that feelings with Mr. Charles, Mr. Bishop. I mean, I don't want to be the spotlight of the show.
Go ahead, darling.
I like the topic here, say, they say. I remember too when my brother died, right? I'm not the person to go to, I'm not how to put it. I'm not the type of person where, like, when someone died for me, to run to the house and, go to funerals and, So I was at a nail tech and I will never forget that day. So when my brother died, the following day, I was at the nail tech. And this customer came in. I was sitting on the same side with the nail tech, and the customers were sitting, opposite the nail tech, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember this girl came in and they were saying, hey, you know the boy who died by the ATM? Oh, Lord, the boy. And they say, yes, well, and they start talking. And this lady start talking because she is saying that her mother is a friend of the dead boy's mother, right?
Mm-hmm.
So because she is saying that, everyone now will gravitate to the gossip.
Mm-hmm. Not knowing that you are the sister.
And no, that I am the sister. That's right. And the nail tech now, she is now watching me side eye, to see if I will burst out. And they start saying all sorts of things about the girlfriend of my brother, my deceased brother, and like she's the faulted one and tralala. And, it's a pity that the girl was saying, and yes, because the mother called my mother and told my mother that last night. When I turned and said, I am the sister of the deceased, the girl was shocked. It comes back to gossip. Here say, there say.
Mm-hmm.
Before, remember I started it saying, doctor, that there's a lot of doctors and pathologists in Tobago. That is what I meant by that. Because they always know how to diagnose you with whatever sickness and whatever problem, and they know what happened to you before the real pathologist cut you or whatever. So have a good night, ma'am.
Thank you. I really, really appreciate your input here this evening. Thank you, dear. Thank you. Somebody else had unmuted a while ago. I'm not sure if the person unmuted to speak. If you did, then you can speak now. However, I want us to note some points before we go. Let us reevaluate information carefully. Let us not be so to share. Let us focus on sharing the truth and sharing the positive truths. There is no need to go about sharing negative things about people. Do not believe or share lies. Pray for wisdom and pray for discernment. And if we find that we can't, that we don't like truth and positive things, then we definitely need to seek help, seek professional help. We need a heart transplant, seek Jesus. He's a friend of a wounded heart. All the bad mind and whatever that we may want to use to paint somebody in a negative light, that could change if we just surrender to the one who is the friend of a wounded heart. Let's reach out to the friend of a wounded heart. Let's care about people. Let's care about the positive things. And if there's something negative happening with somebody, the first thing we should do is kneel down and pray for that person. And if we are in any way capable of assisting, let us offer assistance. To ill speaking a person, bad talking a person, saying negative things doesn't add anything to us. It just shows that we need Jesus, the friend of a wounded heart. We need that transformation. When this is placed on YouTube and Facebook, I encourage you to go on and share it so that other people will hear, other people understand, and other people could be transformed. I thank you all for joining us here this evening. Thank you to all the new people. I really appreciate your coming. And for the ones who are with us week after week, thank you too. You keep us going. See you again next Wednesday evening at 9 o'clock when we are going to be discussing another topic. Haven't decided as yet. Sometimes I go by what I see happening around, but I have a list of topics. I'm not sure what will happen, and I usually ask God to guide in terms of selecting a topic each week. Thank you all and have a beautiful, restful night. And as we close, I ask Marjorie to say a word of prayer for us, please.
Our Father and our God in heaven, we thank you for this meeting we have had this evening. We thank you for your mercies and for your goodness. We ask that you will go before us, every person represented on this platform tonight. You'll watch over us and you'll keep us in your loving care, we pray. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Marjorie. Thanks, everybody. Everybody have an awesome